Good day, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing a subject to you that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know. And that subject is kind of a convergence of a number of subjects. I do this sometimes in my videos, and this one's going to be about clues. UBI, if you know what that is, subsidized income and essential business, UBI, universal basic income, and a couple of things for evidence that are clues. The first thing was clues, and the clues I will provide touch on a couple of other intersecting subjects of pornography, and in particular, child pornography. Now, I want to go on record with an observation here about pornography. I'm going to start with this one. I believe pornography is defined like anything by the motive and the effect. That is, you can't tell if something is pornographic just by looking at a snapshot or a video. What you can do is assess the motive, that is the reason for it, what its intended purpose was, and the ultimate effect, what people are actually using it for. Those two things define what is in the middle, whether it's pornography or something else, anything, literally anything. You need a context. That is how you figure something out, with the context. It provides meaning. Anyway, so these clues of pornography and problematic child pornography calls into question something that's maybe a fifth subject. It's getting a little bit complicated. This will be a short video, though. Bear with me. A fifth subject would be enforceability. What do I mean by enforceability? How is enforceability relevant? How is it important? Why do we need to think about it, consider it, and provide for it, or anticipate it? Because if something isn't enforceable, it's a waste of time, money, and energy to try to make a rule about it, first of all. If it's not enforceable by any remote reasonable criteria, then there's nothing you can do about it by definition. So let's look at this logically. Let's agree, first of all, that children shouldn't be making pornography, objectively. Let's say that, first of all. Second question, is it enforceable? Let's be honest. What are the motives? What are the possible incentives? What are the possible reasons why a child might make pornography, or an adult might recruit a child, worse, right, to make pornography? And how do you know it when you see it? Is there nudity necessarily? Let me get back to the second subject, which was subsidies. Because it's an answer, really. The answer is monetary, financial, economic, right? A lot of times, not always, usually, there's an incentive for any porn artist, for any artist lately. We have bills to pay. People have bills to pay. So they got to survive. And survival is excusable. That's always an excuse. But unfortunately, there's, with the advent of the internet and technology, modern devices and videos and compression algorithms and high-speed networks, it has become wildly profitable for females, especially, not just females, but mostly females, to rake in the money on Patreon. Shout out to Patreon. I'm not a member, never been, but I understand that it's a place to go for young women, or women in general, to sell their bodies. Okay, well, it's not about that really. I want to get back to the subject. Why do these things happen? How do we prevent them if they're unenforceable? Because they are. You don't necessarily have a way to pinpoint it, because there isn't always nudity involved. But what you can do is eliminate the incentive. You can control it by understanding what causes it, like with any problem, first of all. So if 90% of the time it's because people have bills to pay, and it is, maybe if they had less bills to pay, that's a no-brainer. Let's start with that one. So how do they do that? How do we do that? Well, why do we have so many bills to pay? And I want to keep this short. I'm almost to 5 minutes already. Why do we have so many bills to pay? Let's be honest. We go to school in kindergarten. It's required in this country so that our parents can keep working. Why? Well, when you work, you pay taxes. Come on now. We know this. The busier you are, the fewer interruptions you have in your career, the more taxes you pay. Why do we have so many taxes? Okay, I'm going to, again, keep this short. It's not even complicated. Once you put it together, we pay so many taxes because we have this absurd, inefficient infrastructure, or what we call a government, and a parasite that we call the military that has a black budget that has no bottom to it. It literally sucks up as much money as it possibly can, going God knows where, and every tax-paying citizen is burdened and saddled with this expense. So, not to digress, but this is why we got bills to pay. We have bills to pay. So our kids are making porno. We can't stop them. And it's hopefully bad, obviously. I mean, I don't need to tell you it's bad. It's just bad. When parents are recruiting their own kids or foster kids or stepkids into pornography with them because they got bills to pay. Come on. All right, so this is widespread. This isn't a mystery. It's not complicated. You don't need me to tell you about it. So what do? Well, what we do is we subsidize businesses, essential businesses, that is the things that are mainstream, necessary for survival, food distribution, clothing, houses, medical coverage, medical insurance, the basic needs, internet, electricity, clean water, food, shelter, all that stuff. So businesses and basic human needs need to be subsidized so that people are free to not recruit their own kids into pornography, among other things. And this is just, the final deal breaker for me. Not that I needed one. Are you with me on this? Come on. How bad does it have to get? How much taxes do you want to pay while your kids are just, have you checked them lately? Have you looked at the kids? Have you asked them how they're feeling between their antidepressant doses? That was a low blow, but it's accurate. Reach out, whitehotrobot@gmail.com. I'd love to talk about this stuff.